Thank you, everybody. Prior to the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July 19th. No, that's not. The July 19th, 2023 Communications Committee meeting. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from the June 2023 meeting. That was the June 21st. Hopefully everybody had a moment to look them over. Doug, thank you for the minutes. Any questions or any comments? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as is?
I knew.
Thank you, Terry. Second?
Second.
You. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. This is where we have our public discussion and visitor comments. We ask anybody from the audience who's with us today if they have any comments. Now's your opportunity. And if you do have comments later on, you may feel free to ask later as well. Any other comments from the board? Yeah. Moving on. Old business. Old business A, business introduction letter, confirmed distribution. The list was sent out. I know that Holly's not here today. We talked about the other things, but I did not get the confirmation that they're officially sent out. But my belief is that they are out and on the way. So good with that. Thank you all for work with that. We'll look forward to hearing any kind of news with that. I haven't seen any emails yet or anything, but I'm excited to hear the results. Text alert services. This first part about text alert services on our agenda is to discuss Ready Monco features and limitations for issuing township specific text alerts. As we know, or anybody joining, this is in regards to trying to see what capabilities we currently have and whether it would be worth the township investing in some kind of texting services. So Holly, we are grateful for Holly. She attended a virtual training session for Ready Monco. Through that session, she found out that we can use existing services to send non-emergency information as well. Holly has a login and can now utilize it for non-emergency services. It will not replace constant contact. It is limited in number of characters that we can put, but we can link to the website. A link to the website can be added.
And this is not an extra cost. It's all included.
No extra cost, yes. So this she has the login now, so that is good news to know as well.
Okay.
That's something we can definitely explore more as well. Any questions?
Did you say there was a limit to the link to the message, or there wasn't?
There's a limit in the number of characters that we can put. I don't know the exact limit, but she said that we can link to the website. A website link can be added. So
That counts as part of the limit.
I was curious about that as well.
Of course, it depends on if the
I think-
limit's 5,000.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Point so we know what that limit number
We
is.
don't want to get to the point of sending emojis out.
Yeah.
If we only have 10, we have to resort. But yes, that is good news, Don. I'm anxious to hear more about that. I just recently attended that session, which was great. Grateful for that. We're looking into that some more as well. Unfortunately, Holly is not here tonight, but we do appreciate that. Did that as well. Discuss township. Go ahead.
So try and test this functionality, or do we? How does the township go about deciding what goes out? No, I know it's going back to the
Right.
survey. The survey, we had all those comments about. Remind us about things that people wanted to see in text alerts. So it seems to me that there's two things. One is getting out the message to residents that if they sign up for Ready Monco, they will get text alerts coming out from the township. And that leads to the question of whether there's something specific they have to select in order to get that. It's the message along the lines of, okay, residents, right, if you go to Ready Monco and if you do this, select this, then you will get text alerts that are sent from the township, right? So there's that kind of messaging out to the residents. And then there's kind of the internal procedure within the township for what gets sent out.
Right, I think with Mario about Sunday.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think, and I think in regards to the Ready Monica, great point there. I think is kind of goes to one of the things that we have here as well. We really do need to emphasize that. I don't think anything will change if, people signed up for it. I don't believe you can check anything specific. Correct me if I know you was as well.
Me too.
Not sure if it was
Exactly.
or not. I don't know the specifics with that, but I definitely think what you're saying, yes, we need to let residents know that we can get this out. In regards to what is non-emergency that we put out, that's something that I know usually the office will, determine. Obviously, the police is something, well, that would usually be emergency, but and sometimes what we'll have at meetings is we'll say, hey, can we get this information out? We just found out we have a letter off study or whatever is coming up. Let's make sure people are aware of this, send out another blast. That's usually the way that I see that information gets out. It seems to be effective in that regard. And there will be things, like an email, hey, we have this, and the same thing, let's get that out. And that's how they go out to constant contact. My guess is how much would we put onto the Ready Monco? Meaning we want to overdo that as well. And that I think would be determined by the township, by the current method. I think for us, yes, we need to let people know, sign up for Ready Monco. You'll find even more information about Lower South, or maybe even just the constant contact blast to start. A recommendation would be a good idea. Say, let's make sure, just another reminder, hey, don't forget, you have this opportunity. And you love Justin Stone.
No, for some reason it's like, I don't. I'll look.
Nowhere.
That.
You have a Ready Monco app.
Yeah, but it like doesn't really seem to work.
Okay.
I get the text, but
So, as the communication committee, a recommendation group. Right, so do we have to draft a recommendation to the board along the lines of you recommend that these types of things get communicated through this new channel to residents, because it is a new communication channel, right? And Holly's right, it doesn't replace the other stuff, but it's a new channel. Okay. Out through that channel.
Right.
And going back to the survey again, do we come up with a paragraph that says, right, now that the township is going to use this new communication channel, here's what we recommend go out through it. We verbalize something based on the survey.
I think it's a good idea. And again, I think if we ever just with what you're saying, yes, stick with that. But in regards to if we ever want to recommend a blast, I don't think it always has to be as formal. It could just be, hey, I mean, communication encourages X, I see, but I think in this aspect, what you're saying, it is something that should be kind of have a, hey, this is what we're thinking. It should be laid out so it's easier to see. So yes, I think that might be a good move to go.
Because, and as an example, and I'm
Mhm.
just drawing from memory here in the survey, I think there was a lot of comments about the township meetings. So, would we recommend as part of this language to the Board of Supervisors saying that we would recommend that a text alert go out for each township meeting, right? Or a text alert with a summary of key agenda items go out, via this. And I'm just thinking of kind of bringing it full circle back to what the residents asked. Making sure that gets addressed. Great, we have a tool now. Right?
Yeah, and that's
Let's close the loop.
what you said is exactly our purpose. That's well said there too. That's what we should be doing, responding to that. That's a great point with that survey. Yeah, I think it's a good move. I think we should, start to write this down. I think this is because. Yeah, we could say, hey, we recommend, but having, okay, here's the survey results, X amount of people recommended this. Then again, I would just think, thinking of just brainstorming, well, one might be cautious. Some people don't want to receive 2-minute text, maybe, it's 2 minutes because. Would it just be a reminder, maybe start with a monthly meeting, more, that would be something that would be discussed as well, would it be. And it could be something that we could discuss to make it easier, answer those questions, because I'm thinking that that's what we thought. There are a lot of meetings, obviously communications being busy. There's other meetings, not just us.
Right.
I wouldn't mind receiving them, but again, we're not sure if people might pay for text messages.
And they might not realize.
We have to keep that. Right. And
Right.
it's like, oh, that's it, this is the 31, this week, we go with that.
But maybe we can do like, one meeting, like the main meeting, and say, check the website for additional meetings this
Yeah.
month.
It's a good idea.
And I think promoting the monthly meeting, by the main meeting, we mean the
Right.
monthly township meeting.
Yeah,
And I think what's important about that too is because we essentially promote every upcoming meeting. I mean, it's on the agenda, it's we go through,
Yeah.
okay, committee reports, so that would be a good start, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and there, I don't know the exact on the survey, but I think it's worthwhile to see how many, is that something we could do to. Difficult to get an exact number of this thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
And I think there was a couple there, I think it's. I wouldn't be too specific in terms of the survey results. I mean, it was worded lots of different ways.
Correct,
But I
correct.
anything that kind of asked for, that kind of information. And I think you're right, out of a survey of X number. There's many requests for text alerts, and I also think you're right that starting with the primary meeting, I mean, once a month, start with a text alert once a month for that meeting as kind of a reminder of that meeting. And if there are key topics in that meeting, I think it's. Again, I kind of think that was the sense of the survey results that people.
Yeah.
I think the language in the survey might have been the agenda, but I think
and that,
probably there's really key things.
I'm glad you said agenda as well on our website. Again, encourage anybody watching to visit the website. There is links for all the corresponding documents, all the minutes, and specifically a PDF for an agenda.
Yeah.
So maybe that is something that we could link
Mhm.
tonight's meeting, agenda attached.
Right.
We don't have to go to the website,
Right.
that would cover not only that,
Right.
and so I'm glad you said that too, because that's kind of line I'm saying is perfect. One thing I'd be curious to see too is we might also start to see immediate results of whether or not it's working. We know that there's not a lot of attendance, that's why we're trying to figure out ways to improve that. Perhaps somebody seeing that, alert, if we start to see more people, we know it's working.
Right.
I think that's fantastic. Thank you, John.
Also something about road closures or because I know that was another big one too, people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
from what Olive was saying from the constant contact thing. That was like, I think the number one thing was road,
Right.
that people clicked on like their complaints, like, or questions about.
And that typically is the stuff that we'll get a correspondence and say, let's get it
Right.
out there. Credit to our staff
We go
sometimes.
today.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I was just gonna say, sometimes credit to our staff, we get it at the same time as well. Let's get that word out there.
But this would be another avenue to get it out.
It looks like for each township, you can, or like whatever jurisdiction, you can choose different categories, like, so like Lower Providence, all of them have one general one that's community information. But then Lower Providence has a second one that says emergency messages. Upper Providence has emergency alerts, and then it says Port Providence, Montclair alerts, which I guess is like a specific smaller community within.
Okay.
So like, I think you can. Well, White Marsh has flood information. So like, I think you might be able to customize your choices.
It's great.
What category?
This is kind of where we're hoping
Yeah.
to get on there. And that, if that's the case, then we would only want to make sure how much extra work it would be or whatnot.
Right.
Because of course, we need to start, I love to start with this monthly, but if it's like you want this, maybe we could go there too.
So I'm assuming that. When Holly then composes the text message, she has to classify it as one of this type.
Yeah.
So we would have to kind of know, okay, Holly, when you send out the meeting alert, the monthly meeting alert, you're gonna classify it like this. Right, so the message to the rest of the residents can be, okay, if you sign up in Ready Monco, and if you select this category, right, you will get monthly alerts about.
Great point. Yeah,
So,
I think,
so we need to know how Holly classify the alerts. We need to know the limit, the character limit. Words. To draft a communications committee recommendation to the board that alerts following those guidelines right, be issued for whatever it's we call.
and I, go ahead.
Okay. And then we have to figure out how to get that message out to residents, and I'm guessing this, you know, as we've done before, through the newsletter or through. So again, kind of working with Holly to say, hey, we need a blurb in these other communications. This, but hey resident, if you go to Ready Monco and you sign up for this type of alert, right, you will now start getting reminders about.
Right. I think another thing is too, that in regards to addressing it to the board, right on that too. One thing I don't want to, but I'm guessing once we were to implement this more and use it, road closures would automatically kind of be something going. That's something that we're already doing. But I think a reminder of that is good. But I think more formally, what we would want to push is where they want to see what meetings are and how we cover that with one thing. Right.
So we're already getting text messages
We're
about.
not getting any text
Okay,
messages, but
okay.
I think that would almost be, for me at least, I would think if we're gonna do this, that's a obvious, almost like. an
Right,
emergency
yeah.
kind of- I would want to
Yeah.
know. Any
Yeah.
adjacent routes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, like right now, I think the only texts that come through are like emergency ones.
Right, and that's not necessarily from, well, no, it is from, I don't want to misquote that, I know that we send something right away if there's an emergency again. But I think you're right on the money though, is that we should probably go ahead, draft something up. Are there any other things that we can think of off even the top of our heads? And I have survey results that I can look up as well, but off the top of our heads that we saw a lot of, agenda was the one
I
that,
was just thinking about community events that are
Yes.
happening,
yeah,
Mhm.
township events.
you're right. As long as there's no extra cost, if we can do all this is essentially exactly what we need, we have.
Right.
Needs.
And I think you're right, that you don't want to overdo it, and you don't want, to necessarily do stuff that is addressed by the other communication channels.
Yeah.
But. mm,
But again, just getting, I think, the township alert of the meeting, no one, obviously you're gonna get alert, not everybody's gonna jump on it. But maybe after 3 or 4, they might think, hey, let me check it out, if that's one person checking it out, let's spread the word, and that's. Keeps people more alert as to what is happening.
And I think again, if the alert highlighted important things at that, not every agenda item,
Mhm.
but if there was a big decision, right, Board of Supervisor meeting, this date, this time, key decision on whether something gets approved. I think that would,
And check the website for additional agenda.
yes, right.
That's something I think as well. I think that's, I'm all for it. You know, that goes, but I like that idea, because I think that is important. It comes down to defining what would be big decisions, obviously, you know, thinking like a land development or something, but then again, anything could be big if it affects somebody
Right.
personally.
You know,
So,
right.
kind of, even if it's, you know, we're gonna redo this drainage here, well, that's so-and-so's road, that's the most important thing to them, so I think I'm with it, it's just, could we highlight everything? Because sometimes there's really, if we're advertising things, you know, they're advertised, so, but there might only be 3 or 4 action items that are gonna be voted on, we could do something like that. Too. But yeah, if there's a way to include it, I'll for it.
And this is good that we're trying this out, so. This may take the place of all the other things we discussed. For text alerts, so if
Yes.
this works, we won't need to go that. other route.
Exactly, and I can sum up, I don't wanna. That give a little teaser for the next thing, and it requires money, so. I have
But it's good that we're trying it out before we even go, like that next step.
Absolutely, I think
If it does a trick, then
yeah, and I'm grateful that, you know, again, we were just gonna hear the consultants, I think, but again, I'm grateful that we have the opportunity. So.
Yeah.
So. So again, it would be helpful, no character limit, whatnot, but I think it is, should we wait till we find out our limits and. Or before we go ahead and draft, is that something we want to put on next? Okay, this is the next action item, next one, that could be something we could just sit out. And just go right through, you know, we've done that before with the business letter, or is that something that we can just do now? I mean, if we have the means, it might. Then again, I'm excited for it, but it might be helpful to know more, how many characters and to speak with Molly.
Yeah.
And that's for help.
So,
Exactly, we don't want to publicly say, hey, let's do this when we realize, ooh. Take a little,
a couple of key things to.
so I think a good thing, to double check is we'll have the answers, hopefully we'll ask ahead of time, the character limit. Make sure,
Or which Ready Monco category has to be selected to
Right,
get the message.
yeah, like how many can we have,
Yeah,
and is it easy to,
is it easy to separate?
like, easy enough?
How many is a good thing?
Yeah.
You said you saw up to about 3.
3 is most I saw, I would guess that most people don't know they could do it. Would be my-
I would think so,
Yes.
and the reason that I wouldn't think that, except after calling people on the other texting services. A couple of people said, oh, we just haven't gotten to that.
Yeah.
They weren't utilizing some of the features of the other ones. It's part.
Yeah. Can you check with one of the other townships and see how long there? Was there like a non-emergency one on one of the other? townships?
Yeah, there are, yep,
Can
there's
you click on that and see? What they have?
So it's like, it just pretty general community information, emergency alert, and then there's like a lower, like a flood alert.
Once you, can you click on community alert, will you be able to?
I can't see the alert. It'll just come to me. I can click it for like a random one, maybe.
but there's nothing like this as specific as meeting notifications, right?
No, but like
Well,
for,
just
And it
trying to
could be
see how
nobody's thinking
It
of
is like,
for these,
like-
like for White Marsh and Upper Providence, like they clearly customized it. Because it says like White Marsh flood information.
is
And
it,
then-
is there a lot of information there?
I can't,
Oh, you
It's
can't
just-
no,
okay.
it's just like to like opt in, maybe I would get. I'll apply to a couple,
Yeah,
see what happens.
I'm just curious.
I mean, I hardly get any.
So, that's an interesting thought. If it's customizable, then can Holly have one as specific as? Yeah, monthly township,
Right.
monthly Lower Salford Township notices. And then it's very clear, okay, resident, if you click this, check this off, Ready Monco. Yeah. So
so the questions, and that goes right into the questions I have, how many you may have and how difficult is it to separate each one? That's really the main question.
Yeah.
Before presenting.
Yeah.
That's, and character limit be helpful, but
Yeah.
yeah, if we can even put a link, I mean, if you know you get a link, you know, from if I get a link from, you know, my township and say Lower Stopper, it says, you know, click here to see the latest alert. And, you know, that just might be another way of someone getting the constant contact. It's essentially the same as picking it up from your email, but it feels for something,
Yeah.
as indicated, survey results.
I mean, if you're like on your phone, you're not home.
Right.
Or
Or you might get it through your Fitbit or something. Well, I think that's fantastic. It's a good discussion with that. Anything else we want to mention for this? And again, where I see is we'll put this on for old business next time to continue this and go from where we are, hopefully draft a letter, but have some more information too. One more time, just to summarize, monthly meetings to start, road closures, events and happenings are the three things that we think that we see the most on our survey. And I know that right off the bat too. I can't think of anything else. Really, I think that's a good start, you know, since I can't, nothing's as prominent, right? That covers a lot. All right, any other questions or comments on the Ready Monco? Very good, everybody, thank you. Which brings us to, it's not as exciting point now. RFP 2 here. Now, Holly did see what we did have and found out with constant contact, the texting information. Again, this is, I'm going to say it's probably not the route we have, but the information is as follows. The cost varies depending upon the number of texts that people signed up to receive texts. So the costs vary depending on the number of people signed up to receive texts. I put text signed up to receive text, but people signed up to receive text. If all current of our emails, which are 606, opt in the text messaging, the cost would be $20 a month. If we send each one of them 2 texts a month, which would be $12.12, that would be $45 a month as well. So I'm not sure how it goes up another 25. For the same amount, however, you know, just that idea of that is something that I thought. It's not something for, which is why I went ahead with that training. I didn't receive any information about if we have it on our website, but I'm pretty sure that might be our limitation there. Any questions on that? My feeling is we continue to pursue what we previously discussed to make that our next topic, and I think everybody's on board with that. Very good. Another old business we had was brainstorming resident survey on text alert interest and potential use. I think we kind of covered that a little bit here. If everybody would kind of correct me there, one of the things we kind of jumped ahead there too, but the survey, as John pointed out, you know, we had agenda ideas and people on meeting ideas, road closures, events, and I think that's really covered.
This was in response to the Board of Supervisors wanting to know how much it would be used, or what was the level of interest,
Right.
how they phrased it. And we were like, well, how do we tell that?
yeah,
Oh, we can do
That's
another
right.
survey. Right. But I think going back to the if push that information out through the other channels, through the email blast or through the newsletter or something, I think to some degree that is a survey, because you'll see how many people sign up.
That's exactly right.
So the mix of getting the message out through existing channels that, hey, residents, if you do this in Ready Monco, you will get alerts, and then seeing how many people do that is a survey.
yeah.
And, you know, we could get that message out, as you said, any, you know, concentrate. Another thing I was just thinking of, hopefully people saw the ice cream social, you know, on the green things. Blank now.
Green down.
Might have a message that says, you might have a message there, it might say, hey, text, you know, sign up for text, you know, visit the website. And I think just driving by, that's something that I think would be, I'd be curious, I'd look into that. That's little things that we can do that, you're right, we will find out, is it working?
Yeah,
That's the,
but that's, you
Yeah.
could put another thing that township events that are canceled last minute because of weather
Exactly.
or postponed.
there's a lot of,
That's it.
yeah, the fireworks, all sorts of stuff. I think we did that, you know, anything, any kind of thing we have, and that's what they're being utilized for now. And again, it's just another means of getting that information to residents. This is another way that people want it.
It's another
It is-
communication channel.
It is hard to say, as we discussed too, we didn't really discuss, but we kind of said we'll pass it on, which we are discussing now. It's hard to say whether or not we would get an accurate response to that, because are they all using the text message? Is that survey only going to go to the same demographic that would not use the text? So it'd be harder to say what they would want. So I think where we are, I'm okay, continuing and seeing how this pans out, if everybody kind of agrees with that, or has.
And also, it's not gonna cost us money.
That's the
either.
exact.
Right.
So far. Any other comments or ideas for that? I'm okay pulling off on that as well, work on that.
Yeah.
Idea that we kind of. Which brings us to some new business, which. Again, I printed these up, Holly did a great job of printing them up for us as well, so we have these extra ones now, but we do have this list in front of you. Of the potential new business, updated list, combining the ones that we circled last time. Here on our previous one, so it looks a lot better this way. I did encourage everybody, if they could, kind of glance it over, see if anything stood out to you. I wrote down a few things that, you know, I thought might be easy to do, or, you know, different ideas that we could have to explore as well. One thing I always, you know, I think it's genius said too, we have a good thing right now for next week. We don't want to overdo it, but I think it is important to have this list, to make sure we're ready to always have something on topic there. With that, I'll open up discussion if anybody had an opportunity to look this over, to share mine as well. Off a little bit here. I think one of the first ones I saw was number one, the facility manager follow-up letter. My comments I put down, it's easy to do, it's effective. One of the things I think that, and I believe we discussed this too, that makes it important is there could be possible new management. You know, I know one of the times I went back to some of the facilities, there was other, you know, people there, so it might be good to refresh with them as well. Just to follow up, let them know they can reach out to us if they need anything, and, you know, regarding maps. And extra newsletters that we might have that they could sit in their facilities, and anything that we have in our vestibule, especially for people who can't make it out. That's one of the things I put down there. A couple of the other ones I put would be further down, I think, to require a little more, I like number 11. I was just looking for like easy things, which that was a subject matter expert speaker list, and that would require having, you know, obviously somebody willing to come in and maybe speak to residents. And one reason that topic stood out to me this month is we did have the walkable Letter Rock study recently here, which was mailed to people within the Letter Rock area, and we had it was a packed house. It was well done. They had, you know, people were involved in it. They had stickers that could put, you know, what people like, fill out forms, suggestions, and really, since I've been involved, you know, since in this capacity. We've had COVID, so we really haven't had that interaction. It's really good to see. And I think something like that to me also shows that a lot of the conversations I had, I'm sure you feel differently too, but people were curious. They just want to know what's happening. It's great to know and to have somebody. So people were walking around asking questions, and we did have somebody, you know, our engineers could explain the project, answer questions as well. So
Nice.
if it's, you know, if it's something in the future, we could do this. You know, if we could maybe have, hey, you want to learn about this part of our office, you know, or what we do with this, you know, we could ask the board of supervisors if they want to, you know, come out, you know, one night, or maybe one of our staff. I think that's something that we could explore in the future. Again, that's something that would require commitment from others and really volunteer in their time, and that's a lot of commitment there, but it would be great. And I think it's great for residents to stay informed, because really that's the number one thing that people say to me too is, well, what about this? And really, a lot of the times it's right here. But let me show you, make sure you know where that is. Also gives people an opportunity to ask questions too. That was one I put down. I put down 13, but as I continued reading, I kind of combined that with 16 and 17, which was promote the communications as an opportunity to provide feedback. One reason I connected them is I was kind of thinking, oh yeah, another thing we could do, tying it back into the facilities, is perhaps invite, say, this facilities today. Hey, anybody, at the birthday today, anybody Montgomery Wood, anybody at Pheasant Run, want to come out here, just send a letter to your residents, let them know that we have a communications committee, and this month we want to hear questions that they might have, things that, and as some from the initial thing, just here was some of the things that the facility people said, like they just wanted to have the newsletters. They just didn't realize how, and not everybody has the means, to make it to the township building. So that could be an easy thing to do on Zoom as well, which could then maybe have people, hey, I want to go to another one, at least they know they can come to us. And I think I find 13, 16, and 17 they kind of time in there. Number 17 was a little different. It was the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce. Actually, I didn't even connect that one, but it is connecting, I think, in a way, because not so much a flyer packet, maybe reach out to them to offer the same thing, although we want to keep it more in our township. So that was an accidental connect there. 26, I also liked. I think that's something that we could do soon as well. In fact, I think it's something I kind of talked a little bit with the team last month as we were walking out. Publicize communication efforts through local newspapers, publicize our meetings and committee efforts through local newspapers. One thing I think would be great with that is an easy way. We recently have our letters going out. Perhaps it might be beneficial to maybe let the press know, maybe reach out to a business, say, hey, are you going to display this? If we get a picture, look at this X business. And I know, a couple places where, people I have spoken to casually, so they might be interested in doing that as well. And about how we do that, say, hey, here's what we have displayed on our restaurant or, grocery store, whatever it might be, this is what we hope of, and then we can kind of elaborate, tell the newspaper, yes, this is something that the communications is trying to do so that residents know to get involved with the township. My hope is that other businesses, as we were saying, how do we get it to catch on? Oh, wait a minute, we just got one of those letters. This is the thing to do, this is what people want to do. That might be a great opportunity to look into this one. While we have that, while it's out there, while it's kind of summer. That was my thought on that. That's one way we can do that. If we don't do it that way, we could always reach out to the paper, just kind of let them know, invite them to our meeting as well. I think the only thing I would say though, before we do that, I would be probably something as we're subcommittee, just double check forward, make sure, everybody's okay with that as well. But I don't think that may be a big issue. It's a great way to get people involved. They were the key ones I wrote down. I like all of this. I like these are all great things, but they were kind of the ones that I thought, well, these are things we might be able to do relatively easy. They were the ones that stood out.
I wonder if there's some way of giving the description, the rate of local newspapers within the township. How many residents? What is their distribution?
I'm sure. It's interesting though, because I was looking up newspapers again. I do subscribe online. I subscribe to our local newspapers. I read them online. I'm not sure because you don't see them as much as like you used to. It's hard to say who does online, who doesn't. I know my parents, they get newspapers every day, but I'm not sure. And I was thinking about that too. Another thing, and I have had people ask me recently, used to have coverage here. Fortunately, Bob Keeler passed away. Did a great job at it. Recognize him every meeting. He's always at the events, different things as well. But I believe it was at the Letter Rock. It must have been because there's somebody else who gave an answer, but they said, hey, I haven't. Someone else said, oh yeah, I reached out. And they said, if people call or ask, they might send somebody to cover. So that could be something we could even do on our own. Say, hey, we're not having much coverage here. People want to know what's going on, but the coverage has kind of dropped since then. And I don't know if it's like, as you said, maybe they look at their distribution. Maybe there's not a lot in Lower Southford. Right. I don't know, or nobody's asking. So I'm not sure how that works, but newspapers, at least this advertising, I think our upcoming thing is a good story, is a good catch, something that people might be interested in. And I think that's an opportunity we could do.
And I think if we give them ideas for stories, that would help too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there are my thoughts on that. So again, I think the manager letter is something good. It could be a great opportunity to kind of do both things there and say, hey, let's have a night where your facility is invited. Come on, hop on Zoom. That'd be great to have the public comment, to have an insight, especially from a different perspective there, other things. And that's how we got a lot of things at the beginning, like, wait a minute, how do we have this? Now we have the resident request, now we have this and that, just primarily from reaching out. They were our first ones we did. Anybody else have any other ones here that stand out, or any other comments on the ones I mentioned as well?
The kind of tying onto your last comment, the one I've always liked with this group is 27. To have a to use the term we've used before, a quick reference guide of communication channels. That's everything. That's the billboards on the roads coming in and out. That's the park kiosks. That's the electronic media. That's newspaper, whatever. I think that have a quick reference guide with potential, maybe even contact information, but something so that theoretically in every board meeting, there have that quick reference guide so that somebody could say, you know what, this should go out via this channel, this channel, this channel. Text alerts now being added to that.
Yeah.
This should go out in this channel, this channel, this channel. Because you don't think, it's not like, years ago, you had, one channel, a newspaper or something, right? Now you've got all these different channels and the quick reference might summarize like what is good about that channel. Text alerts are good for certain things, immediate kind of messages. The quarterly newsletter is good for something else. And they all have their strengths and weaknesses, right? And to be able to have like a quick reference guide, right? To be able to so that the board of supervisors or anybody would be able to look at it and say, okay, we have all these communication channels available. Here's their strengths and weaknesses.
I read my mind, John, because I was going to bring that up too, but I'm going to take it even a step further and saying maybe in the next quarterly newsletter, we should have an article containing all that information. So this is the way the township communicates with you. These are all your options you can, sign up for or use. Yeah, I think, so I'm not sure when the next quarterly newsletter is coming out, but I know I think in August she starts writing. That seems right.
I think I don't want to misquote, but I think Holly expressed that, but I'm sure. It does feel about right, And that's a great point to put out. To get back to what you said, that's a good guide that could be just sitting back there, and hopefully the channels. Not too hopefully, because it makes okay, we got to stay up to date. That's a good thing, but to improve the channels is a good way. There's always going to be something as well. I think text alerts is something that is not so new, but it's a new way that we can utilize that. And I think that's a good way to go. And you're right. Maybe people will say, I don't want to keep receiving this. I don't mind sitting in my email and I can read, what's happening in the townships, upcoming things and this and that, or newsletter related thing. That's a good point. And that would deter people from opting out. Because that's really what we felt. We don't want to somebody feel bombarded.
Right. And not everybody's going to want the same means of communication.
Exactly.
So we're trying to please everyone, all different factors here.
It will be interesting. That's get too off topic, but it'll be interesting to see how future surveys go. So I know it's something else we had on here, future survey results after we have a different demographic. People receiving information could change the dynamics completely.
That was kind of my hidden agenda too. We give them information first and then they take the survey later.
Right. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that one too, John. And now, what is it that we want to do with these? Just things that this, these are things. And again, these are just the ones that stand out to me. We didn't have a specific thing, but kind of locomotive. We're all still okay with these, and I do like all of them. I do think on one thing I'll go back on what I said, like having somebody like a host person as well. The thing we have to remember too, it is somebody's time and volunteering. Thank you, because if you're signing up for public works, the job description isn't necessarily standing in front of a camera.
Right.
You know, and that's something that, you know, I've talked to our public works too. The dynamic QR codes, that's something we talked about a while ago, but maybe you've seen some of the signs have a QR code on now. Because we had a presentation at one of our meetings and Doug Jones, our director, gave a fantastic overview of how this Cape Seal works, how it goes in. You know, what the benefit would be, how it's gonna do. We said residents will be concerned at first, but once they see this. Gave us a video, we need the video to see them. I'm not gonna do the video, but he has continuously found the most updated ones that explain. You know, to people, and the people, the residents reaching back out has been less, much less, you know, yeah, hey, why is the road closed? Because you can just scan it on your sign and have that information, and that's also available on the website. So, and what I'm getting at is these are great, you know, I would love to have one for every little thing. What is, you know, have our solicitor explain what is anything, okay, now we have, you know, what is hearing, what kind of hearing do we have? What is this? What is that? Any kind of subject we have. These would be great resources that we put on the YouTube channel in the future, but that stuff I think will take time, but it's not just us saying this is a great idea, because we do appreciate anything that anybody wants to go, but we have to be aware of that.
So do we take this to your combined 3, 4, 5? We have 5 items that we discussed. Combining 13, 16, and 7 as well.
Not necessarily 17, I think 13 and 16, so
16, 17.
I think it's 13, but 13 could be separate too, is promote the communications meeting as an opportunity to provide feedback, and that could be promoted in various ways. I was tying it into the 16 by promoting it with facility management. That's why it's specific.
Okay, so we considering 13, 16, 1. Well, I'm where I'm headed with this, and that would help you decide.
Yeah.
I mean, do we take supervisors and say, hey, you know, here's what the communication committee thinks are important topics. Right? How would you rank it? Get their guidance and input what they think should be.
I see what you're saying, so, you know, we have a general idea, let's not work. You know, let's not put all of our energy and time on something that really is not of interest. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or they won't have their support.
Right, that's,
Again.
we're just throwing out ideas.
And guys providing, you know, recommendations to the board of supervisors, right? But yeah, it's. We get a feel for, if we think those 6 items. Are what is the top of this list in terms of our input? And ask them, okay, here's of 28 items. Here's the 6 we think, you know, are the most important to this activity. What do you think?
Yeah, which one would you like us to further look into, you know, that's.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the priority for
Yeah,
that?
yeah, what's the priority of the whole 6? I mean,
That makes
best case scenarios, I'd have them rank all 6 so that we have it, you know, as a reference.
Yeah.
But if nothing else, at least tell us what they think is the most.
That's a great one time, that could, as you said, you know, it could save a lot of effort at the time, you know, just kind of working together and might bounce off ideas. People hear, hey, you know, let's look into this some more, and this is, if you're going on this line, look into that as well, that could be feedback we could receive. Do we want to, I think it might be, so again, that kind of answers the question of what do we do with this information that we have? Do we want to put that on as our additional old business for next month as well, then to do that, or do we do this now?
Have we done?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is
Yeah,
do we want to just
I
kind of
think
pick which ones we have and say, here's what we have?
Yeah,
Go from there.
I mean, so is if our, is our list 1, 11, 13?
At the same time, some of these we might be able to well, like for the facility manager follow-up letter. I don't think that was already established that.
Right.
And I don't think it has been a problem in the past. Obviously, we let them know, but the board is aware that so that might be something that we should be able to just do. I will confirm that.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
What else were we saying? 11 is something we definitely would. That was, but that is something we can ask, see if it's worth pursuing, which is a great. 13,
Just a side note of 13,
Yeah.
I like, I mean, I think it's good to promote it, but I also like number 12 along with it, and like, I don't know. Like, you don't necessarily lump them together, but
yeah,
after we promote it
To the-
a little bit, yeah, and then like. Once we. Possibly
Yeah.
have some people interested or hold a couple of these, like, and then. Bring that in.
The 12 should.
I don't think
come
that should
before
be like-
13, definitely.
We can,
Do we-
present it as a kind of a combined
Yeah,
activity.
like eventually, but
Right.
yeah.
just make a good point that would we want to do something like 12 as a not necessarily a standalone event, but standalone meeting, or would it be, as I think you were starting to say, after we kind of get people coming, like so.
Yeah, like
We kind of
13
go through this
first.
month, let's invite, we found out there's about 6 or 7 residential. Say, hey, this month, come on out here, and then after that, maybe we could then explore, do we want to have a special. Meeting or a meeting just dedicated to that, but I think you're right, that is something important, and I didn't rule necessarily, I like everything on here, it's just thinking of what was immediate. You think it'd be better to do the other ones first then, or just go all out and have that?
I think the other one's first. Because I feel like at least you would get people some access to what it is.
Where people would have an idea and know. Our fails or positives or negatives too,
Yeah.
after seeing us in action, that's a great one. So is that something we present to the board then now too, or?
I'm not sure. It was more just like keep
No,
it
yeah.
in mind, like as a future.
And even inviting residents to come out, I don't think that that's something, that anybody would have a problem with. Hey, we told the facility manager to email as a reminder that we have a meeting this night, and
Right.
we're open to that. Definitely something we will mention, but that might be something that we could save not happening as well.
And I think like if we had any kind of the facilities join or provide feedback, then we could think of topics to talk with other residents. Like
Yeah,
hold them or get their ideas.
I think in 27 is something we can bring up, is that something that, this is what we're thinking.
Yeah,
We're
I
going
like
with
that.
science here, and John, you had a great point with that one, that was the communication tools and channels, because that will cross off a lot of this as well. Now said, do we want to pull anything else out that might be something that is not as easily able to do, something along standing, and then we can kind of know whether we even bother that, or do we hold tight for this one?
The township information videos,
Information videos, yes.
I bring to the board.
But the Wi-Fi access, no, we kind of mentioned it, but I think that's something that more would be on the thing as well. We can definitely encourage for it. That was something that I know we mentioned it once we have security cameras in the park, and that's what's just casually said, hey, what if we do this? And the board all said, yeah, that would work. But that might be something I can even just kind of bring up at our next meeting where we stand with that, thinking on that alone.
Yeah,
Not necessarily the ours.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see that. The yearly update to the township quick reference guide, I think that's something that I just read it again. I think that's something that is important to us and that we should do, but obviously it's not July, right?
How about the special session with the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce?
That could be good. Then what would we want to tell them that we would want specifically for that? Is that again? covers more than just our township as well, so. I don't recall the exact thing they have with that.
Do they have a speakers bureau, you know?
Not positive, but yeah, it could be something that we could just promote that we're doing and encourage others
I
as
just
well.
want somebody to come here to speak.
Oh, yes, oh, yeah.
That's
I
kind of what I
can,
was thinking.
okay, perfect. Yeah, to know what's happening and to get it all,
I
that's
guess,
what
yeah.
people might not even know.
They may even have a list of topics
Yeah.
about the speakers bureaus. They do.
That's good as well. Resident welcome video, that kind of ties in, I think, to the other thing as well. That could be something in the
Mhm.
future.
But I think it's good to be scared. Put
Oh,
that on
yeah.
the list for the board.
That, and I absolutely. So what I have circled so far. The facility manager follow-up letter, in fact, that's why it's sort of being shut. Subject matter expert speaker list. The communications committee promotions we circled, but again, that's. I think that we're already, the township's already the understanding of promoting all committees as well, so I think that's kind of where we were talking. Definitely resident welcome video. Special section, and I'm sorry, numbers are 11, 15. 17, a special section of the Union Valley Chamber of Commerce. 25 is township information videos. 27, document communication. Any others that we want to get out right away to them? See, something to me. I think what we can do is, any other suggestions too, is pretty much. Copy paste what we have. Here's the ones that we have, and I'll tell them, we have a huge list, and I don't know if anybody saw the videos, what I've done with things, the last few things, the text things, I printed them out, gave them out, just so if somebody had a reference. Say, we have a huge list, here's our huge list, you can look at it, different things we're looking at it, we're open to suggestions. These 5, we realize there's something more long-term, something that we want input, we want you to take a look and, provide any feedback, send us an email, if you don't want feedback right now, check it out, I think that's what I'm thinking how to do, just basically at our next meeting.
Mhm.
Anybody has any objections to that?
I think that one.
Okay. Very good. I forgot to say, we do have one more new business that I probably asked to mention, but I think you may have seen the August meeting. So our August meeting has, as probably before that didn't put this down, I forgot I have Zoom on here. I think I can do both. But just to sum it up, I know that there is a planning commission meeting I had to reschedule, and that was unfortunately the best date that was available, so where is it? Planning commission had their combined July-August meeting on the same day as our meeting, so they will also be using the laptop for Zooming. So to please discuss if we would like to move the meeting to another day or cancel the August meeting.
Her suggested dates were August. No other meetings are going on, so we wouldn't end up conflicting with somebody else.
Correct. I was gonna double check, and I know we've looked in the past, once we changed our time. And I'm pulling up the calendar as I speak, as well, just to double check. Yes, here's the township's calendar. I have a conflict on the 9th. I am unavailable. I do have availability on the 10th.
They're annoying, we can't come to the meetings. I could probably zoom in the 9th or 10th, actually. I mean. Or for. But I likely won't have anything happening at the 30th, but.
From what I can see on the calendar, we have, it looks like that week is open, at least for the township thing. I also said, 17th, I unfortunately do not have availability as well.
Okay, so you don't-
16th, I did.
Yeah.
Everything else was like, hitting anything out there, unfortunately. I mean, we can just bring up what we like to do, if we want to cancel. I do feel we have stuff here. I'm good keeping the meeting if we can. I don't want.
So you guys are saying either the 9th or the 10th?
I can't do
You can't do that, so the 10th of the
that.
And unfortunately, Dean's not here as well, so it could be something we could follow up via email.
Yeah.
And then next, like by the end of this week, because so that we can advertise with the township, but I think the team should, get her input as well. Yeah, 10th, 17th, or 10th is available, 9th and 17th is not.
Okay.
Again, on the calendar, though, they do have that whole week from the 7th to 11th open that I
Okay.
can see. Double check that. Township has nothing on the calendar that I see. And again, we'll check with Jean, but the 8th, I have availability. If that could.
Yes, I can do it.
I think the 7th as well. Okay. Possibly 8th.
seventh and eighth.
The 23rd could also be a possibility as it's not on. I don't. But 23rd doesn't have anything on the website as well. What I can do, I know it's been a long year as well. Just, ideas, the calendar is right here. I need to screenshot it, share it with everybody, or just write down the dates that are available. Go from there might be the best bet, and keep team numbers if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody would mind finding out, township wise by the end of the week, what our plan is. But I would like to try to keep it if we can. Anybody
I
else's
agree.
thought on that? Yeah, I think we have a lot of good stuff here. I wouldn't want to lose that momentum. Okay, so I will follow up with that. Yeah, well,
But it sounds like we're shooting now for something the week of the 7th.
I think so. Is that, I mean, I'd be open to the week after, the 23rd as well. The park board meeting is canceled on the 22nd, so I guess that's available too. At least on the township calendar, I'll read what's available. I see 17th, I am not available. 18th, I wouldn't want to make it on a Friday. I think that's good. That's 21st. 21st is available, 23rd. And this is that 5th month, so we do have the 28th, this is the 5th week, where we have that rare 5th week, so that whole option would be available here as well. So okay, very good. So
After the 20th is probably not.
because it looks like just the 23rd.
So the week of the 7th, the 21st, the
So
23rd.
what are we down to now, the what?
The 21st, 23rd, and the week of the 7th, excluding the 9th, because you have a conflict and I have a conflict.
Like it is.
And the 7th. So the 8th, the 10th, and the 23rd. Did we say 21st?
And the 23rd.
Did you say you
No.
can't do 21st?
No, I can do the
Okay,
21st.
it's 21st as well.
The 8th.
8th, 10th, 21st, or 23rd.
They seem like the most. Yes, not that last one. Oh, no, I already have to start checking school calendars and whatnot. So now- No, it's the currency.
They probably won't start until like the 20th.
That's that last. Alright, well, let's follow up on that then.
Couple of quick, just follow up. So,
Just to make sure what is available with Dean as well, and an email. So we'll email everybody here, just make sure what date is best for you. And check them out again, this, I currently have. That would be great, John. That'd be great. Well, thank you. The 8th, 10th, 21st, 23rd, is everybody in this room have that as a possible availability?
I can't do the 10th.
Okay. So it's 8th, 23rd, 21st, no worries. On 1/23, let's see. It's. And presumably, there's nothing on the calendar for the township, so I'll double check that as well.
Okay.
That's usually pretty up to date.
Okay, so 8th, 21st, 23rd. Not the 10th. Or at least.
Just find out from college to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
That's
be helpful as we have those.
We kind of need her to answer some questions then.
So I'll circulate the email.
Thank you.
Yes.
We did cover a lot today. Thank you, everybody, for that, but I don't want to close out as much as, let's not get out. Anybody have anything else they want to add or say? Can you hear?
No.
Any other comments? Anybody, any one of our guests, any comments? Let's see any there. Again, thank you all for a lot of feedback, a lot done there. It's good meeting. Thank you. With that, we have a motion to adjourn, and our future date will be determined. We'll make sure that's updated, but anybody watching as well. Motion to adjourn,
I knew.
Terry? Moved, seconded? Yes, thank you. Second, all in favor, say aye. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening. I will turn off the recording.